the Goddess Within Her podcast. I'm your host, your God sis, Chelsea. Today we are getting into things to remember during your wilderness season. I feel like for me, the hardest part is being still. And I want to share 3 things I learned to help me stay on track during my wilderness season. Number 1, the concept of time. It is a unit of measure. It is something that was created so that we could be able to put the course of from sun up to sun down into a measurable time, so that therefore we know we can try and control the day, right? It's a unit of measure, all the way down from hours to minutes to days to months to years to all of this. It's all units of measure. So give things time. You have to be willing to wait on God however long it takes, right? Literally, people say that God works, his speed is so fast, things can change in one day. And really, you can see the fruit of your labor in one day. However, that work is happening on the back end. That is the wait, right? One day things will change. There's this song that I like. I'll link it. It only takes one day for him to change it all. And I believe it with my heart. That's why I call on Jesus' name. I know it's the way. I'm gonna link it. It's a vibe. But anyway, that fruit, it's gonna take a while for you to see that fruit. Okay? So wait. The concept of time is just a unit of measure. It's just to help us plan, right? Don't get so caught up on time. We always want to say, oh, we want this by this date or this by this age. And am I doing what I need to? Who am I? What's my purpose in life? And that's when we go down this whole little rabbit hole. 2 Peter 3:8 says, but do not forget this one thing, dear friends. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. It's really a concept of time. And what the Apostle Peter really wants to say is, don't lose heart, because sometimes God is slow at fulfilling his promises, but he is not bound by time. So like I said, this unit of time, this unit of measurement, so be prepared for the wait. This time of waiting is often referred to as your wilderness season. It's kind of an analogy on plants. We know plants go through a cycle. You plant your seeds, then you have harvest season where you reap the blessings, which is the harvest, the food, the plant, the flowers, the fruit, everything that has come out of the seeds, the soil. In your wilderness season, that is your time to plant your seeds. That's the time where this is the time when you really have to stand on God's promises, because most of the time you're in a season of lack, right? You only have seeds. You don't have the plants. You don't have the harvest yet. So you're still in that waiting season. And that wait time, it's different for everyone. But while you're in that season, just remember, God is not bound by time. He is. And there's a difference between time and timing. He is not bound by time. However, he is omnipotent, so he always has divine timing. Next is identify your distractions. Okay, so you know what? Avoid distractions, and the first step to avoiding distractions is to identify your distractions. People will have an agenda for your life. They will see your worth. They will see your talents. They will see your gifts. And that will either make them be jealous and want to leech onto you to grab that from you, or they want that into their lives. So they want you to bring your gifts into their lives, and not to make you better, but to make them better in their life. Like, look at the story of Daniel. People talked about him for walking away and trying to go pray, then condemned him to the lion's den, where he survived the one circumstance that they thought that was going to kill him for good. These stories in the Bible are meant for us to live from. And this is literally the things that we fight during these days. And that includes, like I just said, people's agenda for your life. And they will try to condemn what they cannot understand. However, it takes for you to be able to identify it as a distraction and thereafter avoiding it. So when you think about people's actions, I've went into this before, and something happens, right? And that something causes an emotion. That emotion prompts a reaction from you. A reaction or behavior, right? Now, usually once that whole circumstance is done, we have a feeling after. It either feels really, really good, or it feels really, really bad. Or you're in the middle and you don't know, and you need to think about the situation more to figure out, and your feelings more to figure out how you feel. That feeling after, you really have to reflect, because it's like, number one, did that behavior align to my purpose? I mentioned before that not all the time pleasure bears purpose. So sometimes that feeling, you could feel like a ball of crap. However, you know that you're making steps towards your purpose, so that this sacrifice and this feeling is purposed. It just brings back the importance of knowing your purpose and the path that you are on. And like in the story of Daniel, just stay true to who you are, no matter what others say. And also be able to check yourself. So make sure that you're not being manipulative and having your own agenda behind things, using others for their gifts and what they can do for your life. That's a one-sided connection relationship that's not bearing good fruit, because that's not healthy. It's not benefiting and pouring into each person's cup who's in the relationship. It's only one-sided. Therefore, that's sowing bad seeds. So you have to really be able to check yourself when you're doing that. And the easiest way to do that is empathy. Empathy is the ability to be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. In most situations, all situations, using that allows you to have a different perspective and to think about the other person who is in that situation, which then allows you to look at your actions from a different perspective and a different standpoint, and be able to check yourself and say, oh, I think that was a little selfish of me. And, sometimes we care about ourselves. We love ourselves. So we're going to have our best interest at heart. However, sometimes it can be borderline. It can go from love to hate really, really quick. So you have to be able to check yourself. You want to constantly be looking at what's going on in your life and how you're progressing, because what you don't want to do is be going in a cyclical circle motion to the fact where you're repeating the same steps and getting the same results, because that's the definition of insanity, right? We want to make steps towards that are going to go upward towards a mountain that way. But the beautiful, but can be most frustrating part about the faith walk and walking purposed in God is that your path can change at any time. You have to be willing to pivot. And really, that starts with accepting your L's when they come. That brings me right into the next thing, because accept your losses. They are only guiding you to your future. They are only guiding you to your purpose, right? Rejection is just redirection from God. I probably heard that somewhere. I don't know what quote or what, but I've been going by it. And rejection is only redirection from God. And remember what I said about God's wrath and God's discipline is only in his love and to bring you back to him. God's plan is rewarding. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Okay, that's the promise we are standing on because we know God has what's best for us. He knows what's best for us. I have mentioned before how sometimes we can have reactions and things can happen to us. Sometimes our discernment is off. Sometimes we are facing a huge demon to where it looks like God. It looks like purpose. Everything about it is telling you yes. However, God is saying no. But, we aren't perfect. We aren't spiritual beings. We are here living on earth in flesh. So sometimes we can get blinded by that. But that's why it's really important to stay close to God and to really, because then you'll be able to bounce back. That's that Romans 28:28. All things come together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose, right? And that purpose and that plan is all rewarding. And sometimes we have to get rid of our plans and be willing to pivot into his purpose. And the purpose is different at any times. You have to be willing to turn those losses into lessons and learn them. Because if you do not learn them the first time, they will keep coming up in your life, ready for you. Okay? Prepare yourself for years to wait. Prepare yourself. All right. So, 3 things to help you in your wilderness season. Number 1, God is not bound by time. Okay? Understand the concept of time. Number 2, avoid distractions. Identify them and get up out of there. Stay purposed. Purpose steps. Number 3, accept your L's. Rejection is only redirection. These are 3 things that I hope will help you stay on track during your wilderness season. And me, I'm in my wilderness season right now as well. And these are things that I have to remind myself of consistently. So it's always an ongoing process. Okay? That's all for now. See you next time. Bye.